What's up, y'all? This is Carla, aka Sela the Poet, and welcome to my channel. I decided to do a genealogy test. It lets you know about your background. Most people do Ancestry.com, but I decided to do My Heritage, and I decided to do a video to share my results. So I grew up in a Afro-Latino household. My mother's side of the family was Jamaican, but they were mixed Jamaican, and my father's side was Boricua, which is Puerto Rican. I grew up hearing many stories about what our ancestors were. I know on my father's side, I know my grandfather used to talk about Spanish people, and my grandmother, Carmina, the Jamaican side, while she was alive, she spoke to me about that we had Jewish and that we had Cherokee in our family. So here we go. I'm gonna let you guys know the results here, and I found the results to be very surprising because I had so many questions. There were just a few adoptions in the family, as well as relatives that I never met. So there were like a lot of unanswered questions, and I think that this My Heritage Ancestry test answered them for me. So here it goes. Did you guys see it? Okay, so I'm gonna give you the breakdown. So I am 46% Nigerian, which I'm like, wow, oh my gosh. I'm so happy to be able to pinpoint a country where my ancestors were probably from. I always knew I was black. I never had a problem with my black background, but just to know that my ancestors more than likely came from there in such a high percentage, I'm really, really, really happy about it. But what I was surprised about was the 23% Scandinavian. Growing up, we didn't have no white people in our family, not that I knew of. I know that I learned that a lot of slaves had, they were raped by the slave masters. There was race mixing, because of slavery and stuff like that. But growing up, we were told that because, we're Puerto Rican, that there was more than likely Spanish. So I was expecting Spanish, but here it says 23.3% Scandinavian. When I did a cross-reference and looked at the history of Puerto Rico, I realized that it wasn't just Spanish Europeans that were on the island. There were also Dutch people, there were French people, there were Jews. So this result kind of ties in with the history on the island. And more than likely, that percentage came from maybe the second migration, maybe from the Dutch people that might have been on the island. I'm 15.6% Sierra Leonean. Now, that's pretty amazing. Sierra Leone, that's kind of a high percentage. I'm going to make sure that I do a study on all these countries, supposedly, where my ancestors came from, so I can learn more about the African background. I'm 4.3% West Asian. Now, that was something that I kind of expected because my grandmother always used to tell me that my great-great-grandfather was a Syrian Jew. And Syria is located in West Asia. Around that area, it's like Middle Eastern. So I wasn't too surprised about that. That kind of fit in exactly with what my Jamaican grandmother was telling me. And I am 10.2% other. Now that surprised me. 1.8% Somalian, 1.8% Central African, 1.5% Ashkenazi Jewish. Once again, that would fit in with what my grandmother told me about my great-great-grandfather. 1.2% Eskimo and Inuit. Now that was something that I totally did not expect. You know, because I was always told like we had a grandfather who was Cherokee, you know, and stuff like that. In the family, there was a Cherokee relative that had Cherokee blood. But Eskimo and Inuit, even though it's a very small percentage, I just found that very surprising. 1.1% Central American and 1.0% Indigenous Amazonian. That I wasn't that much surprised about because, you know, in Puerto Rico, there were the Taínos and Arawak Indians. So that very small trace more than likely came from there. But I'm just so psyched and I'm just so happy that I got these results because it answered a lot of questions for me. And it also brought some more questions, you know, about certain things that I didn't know that I had, you know, in my genealogy. But I'm really, really glad that I did this. And I would recommend, you know, anybody that wants to know more about their roots and their background to get these tests because it can pinpoint more than likely where your ancestors were from. So, guys, all I could say is thank you for listening. It looks like I'm really, really mixed up here. But my main percentage is 62% African. So, you know, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm just very, very surprised, like I said, at the high percentage of European. I didn't expect that at all. Especially the fact that it doesn't look like it was from Spain either. But I watched someone doing a documentary on genealogy test, and what they said was that it doesn't mean that certain things are not in your family because you didn't inherit the DNA. It could come up in another relative. So, but I'm pretty much, you know, mixed up here, Afro-Latina, mixed up here, and this is me. This is, you know, who I am. So, thank you for listening, and that is my genealogy story. Peace, guys.